You can change some of the default characteristics of a dialog using some options. So by default, if you have written code like this, a dialog will be displayed and you can drag it to any position holding the title section. You can resize it as much as you want if you haven't specified any min width, max width, min height and max height options. And one more thing is that in addition to closing the dialog using this close icon, you can even close this by clicking the escape button on your keyboard once your dialog gets focus. So suppose I click somewhere inside the dialog, and if I click the escape, the dialog will be closed. So these are some of the default functionalities of a dialog. Okay. So what we are going to see is, we will see some options that can be used to change the default functionalities. So suppose I add an option draggable and set its value to be false. What will happen? We will not be able to move our dialog. Let me refresh. Let me try to move. See, it is now not draggable. So the default draggable functionality can be cancelled by specifying draggable to false. Similarly, we can specify resizable to false so that the dialog will not be resizable. Let's see that as well. Refresh. Let me try to resize. See, nothing happens even if I try to resize. Then another option is auto open to false. So by default we see the dialog, right? But if you specify auto open to false, when you load the page, you will not be able to see the dialog. Refresh. See, the dialog is not appearing. Again, one more option is there, that is close on escape. So I have already shown you how we can close the dialog by clicking the escape key once the dialog gets the focus. By specifying close on escape to be false, we will not be able to close it by clicking the escape key. So for that, let me first remove this auto open to be false. Otherwise, we will not be able to see the dialog itself. Save. Let me refresh. Now the dialog is there. Let me click somewhere inside the dialog and let me try to press the escape key. Though I am pressing the escape key, it is not getting closed. So in this lecture, we have seen 4 different options that can be used to change the default functionality of our dialog widget, and they are draggable, resizable, auto open and close on escape. The default values of draggable and resizable are true. That is why we are able to drag the dialog to some other new position, and also we are able to resize our dialog. By setting the value of draggable and resizable to false, our dialog will not be movable or even resizable. Similarly, if we set the value of auto open to false, the dialog will not appear as the page loads. And we can use the close on escape if you do not want the user to close the dialog by pressing the escape key. You need to set the value of close on escape to false for that. So these are the 4 different options you can use to change the default functionality of our dialog widget.